Alright, so I'm back because, well, hold on. We're back here because I fucked up. Essentially. So, what we're not gonna fucking do is chase after Dima. We're gonna chase after Mishka. So, let's go. There was something unsettling about watching Mishka walk away. Even now, as he stared at Mishka's back, his hands shook and his heart raced. Sasha felt horrible, thinking and feeling that he had never seen him again. No, I just got him back. Sasha instinctively ran to the elevator, not allowing himself another moment to think. Wait. Mishka turned his head over his shoulder as Sasha called out. Just as the doors began to close, Sasha slipped through. Sasha, what are you doing? The elevator remained still even after both of them were inside. Mishka's fingers were covered over the bottom. He hadn't pressed it yet. Sasha bent forward and placed his hands on his knees, huffing. Look me in my eye, and he bowed his head forward and held up a single index finger.
Ugh.
Hold on. Jesus, that was a long run. Straightening up, Sasha grabbed Mishka's arm. Look me in the eye and tell me truthfully, do you really want space right now? Mishka blinked in utter confusion. His perplexed gaze staring down at Sasha and the grip on his arm. Sasha, because if you really do, then I'll give you space. But if you have any shred of doubt or you don't want to be alone, then I'd rather be with you right now. You'd rather be here with me. Mishka's stomach twisted and fluttered as Sasha spoke. He smiled softly and lowered his hand from the elevator buttons.
Well...
If you want, I'd really like that. After everything he had been through, a quiet evening with Sasha sounded perfect. Sasha was the first to step inside Mishka's apartment, eager to see what his place looked like at Strexa.
Huh?
Wait, it just looks like mine. His excitement was quickly leveled. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're all the same. Yeah, but yours doesn't even look lived in, because I don't live in it. Mishka followed behind Sasha, towing off his shoes at the entrance and locking the door behind them. Mishka winced as he bent over to remove the shoe. This is way nicer than your apartment downtown, though. Yeah, and way further from downtown, plus I'd never bring you here. Well, except now, I guess. Makes sense. Though, to be fair, you hardly ever take me to your other place either. Sasha kicked the shoes off at the entrance. His own place had felt so empty, but being here with Mishka felt familiar. It felt familiar, my bad. It felt comfortable. Oh man, I'm starving. Please tell me you have some food here. Sasha bounded towards the kitchen, rounding the island to get the fridge. He flung the door open and his expression was quickly drained of enthusiasm. Nope, sorry, there's no food in the fridge, but you can order something if you want it. Mishka. Sorry, my doggy's coughing. Mishka grimaced again, his hand moving to cradle his side. His shirt felt wet where the wound was dressed, so he headed for the bathroom. Order something from where? The cafeteria? Because no one delivers a burger out this far. It's pretty tragic. Sasha's lips pursed while he thought, I'm pretty sure there's a menu in my room. Hey, do you have a menu around here? I guess I could use my phone. Sasha turned to look for Mishka, or rather, where Mishka had been. He slipped out the kitchen and glanced around, spotting the bathroom door ajar. Mishka? Mishka stood in front of the large bathroom mirror and lifted his shirt, eyeing his bloodied bandage. Everything alright? Oh yeah, it still just fucking hurts. He tried to laugh, but winced as a jolt of pain shot through his torso. One hand steadying himself on the counter while he examined the other, blood smeared against his palm. Damn it, maybe you shouldn't have ripped your IV out and walked out of the hospital? Yeah, okay, I get it. Damn, even laughing hurts. Sasha glanced towards the bloodied bandage and felt his chest tighten. Has this been hurting him since that night? You should probably redress that. Do you keep a first aid kit or something around here? Mishka peered over at Sasha's before responding. Yeah, it's over there under the sink. It was a good thing Sasha was here. Leaning over was not something Mishka wanted to do. The less he aggravated his injury more. Sasha shuffled around under the sink, surprised to find that it was filled with all kinds of peroxide, rubbing alcohol, and gauze. Sasha tried to shake away the thought of Mishka sitting in the alley. He just grabbed everything he could from the cabinet. He dumped the items on the bathroom counter and turned to Mishka. Took off your shirt. Your enthusiasm was a little scary. Still, Mishka complied. He took off his shirt and tossed it aside. My enthusiasm is saving your life, but I'm not dying. Sasha popped open a bottle of rubbing alcohol and pressed a cotton pad toward the top. Tilting it over, he let the alcohol soak in the swab.
Oh, fuck.
Maybe a little too much. The bathroom suddenly smelled sterile and Mishka's nose burned from the harsh fumes. You are not about to put that on me. You soaked the entire cotton ball. Quit whining and let me see the cut. Sasha moved closer, lifting Mishka's arm out the way. Mishka stared at Sasha, surprise written all over his face. Oh, he's really eager to help. Sasha paused for a moment when he saw the injury for the second time. The wound looked pretty bad, but not nearly as bad as it did back in the alleyway. Sasha took a deep breath before gently dabbing the pad against Mishka's stitches. Mishka was so wrapped up in watching Sasha that he hadn't anticipated that sting of the alcohol as it touched his skin. Recoiling, he hissed. Fuck. Sasha blew on Mishka's cut to ease the burn while he cleaned. Don't blow on it. Mishka began cracking up, even laughing, causing a throb of pain. Ow, ow, don't make me laugh. Stop moving. Sasha couldn't help but laugh, making it more of a challenge to clean the wound. To stop his hand from shaking, he gripped his wrist with his other hand. Finally, the blood had been mostly wiped away and Sasha started to pat it dry with a clean swab. Where'd you learn First Aid 101, huh? TV dramas, that's how you learn anything. I could probably perform surgery at this point. Sounds like the most inaccurate thing you could have said. Anyway, hand me the medical tape. Reaching for a few new pieces of gauze, Mishka pressed into the newly cleaned wound and began taping up the sides. It may not have been professional, or even accurate, but it seemed to be working, and that was enough for Mishka. He picked up his shirt and slid it back on. He eyed Sasha with a soft smile as he finished putting the supplies back under the sink. Sasha noticed the bandage across Mishka's face, but it didn't seem bad enough to change. Thinking about how he must have gotten it made Sasha's stomach twist. Thanks.
Okay.
Sure, now we can order food. Mishka rolled his eyes and grabbed a bottle of painkillers from the counter. The two walked out the bathroom. Mishka headed for the large, comfortable bed. Sitting down on the edge, he uncapped the pills and dumped a few in his palm. What are you ordering? Sasha set one hand on his hip and thought. I want the biggest, cheesiest, greasiest pizza they have. Every topping, double the cheese, plus cheese. Somehow that doesn't surprise me. Call down to the cafeteria. They'll deliver it up here like room service. Do you want anything? Mishka threw the painkillers into his mouth and swallowed them dry. Capping the bottle, he laid back down and stared at the ceiling. I'll have what you're having. And the biggest cup of soda they have. Sasha leaped forward and crashed onto the bed beside Mishka, who jumped in surprise. Mishka rolled onto his good side to face Sasha. Where's your phone? I left mine in the bathroom. I don't honestly know what happened to my phone. Oh, these are pitiful, Mishka. I lost it. Oh fuck, that's right. I gotta do everything around here, huh? Oh my god, Sasha, go get your phone. He laughed, teeth flashing as he smiled. After a dramatic sigh, Sasha scooted his way to the end of the bed and stood up. His feet slapped on the hard floor as he made his way back to the bathroom. His phone was sitting on the counter and he squeezed his arm through the open door to grab it.
Okay.
Got it. Where's the number? Mishka's voice carried from the bedroom. Don't you have the number on your phone? I wouldn't think you'd have ordered everything in the kitchen at least once by now. Yeah, well... Sasha's voice was quiet and he stared at his phone screen. Didn't eat much, I guess. Just tell me the number. I think it's 0, then 1, something about being in the building automatically takes you to it or something. So like a hotel. You promise I'm not about to call the parking garage or something, because if the valet picks up and I'm handing the phone over to you. Do you want pizza or not? Sasha threw caution to the wind and dialed the number. He pressed the speakerphone option and waited. While Sasha ordered the food, Mishka turned and stared at the ceiling again. He closed his eyes, content just to hear Sasha's voice. Is this really okay being around him? If he says it is, well, it'll be okay, right? Yep, that's fine, thank you. When the call ended, Sasha tossed the phone aside and crawled further up the bed next to his friend. Noticing that Mishka's eyes were closed, he leaned over and looked down.
Are you kidding me?
Are you sleeping? You can't sleep, I just ordered food. Half expecting to see the ceiling of the holding cell. When he opened his eyes, Mishka's heart skipped a beat at the sight of Sasha leaning over him. No, I'm not sleeping. Did they say how long it would be? Probably 30 minutes, I don't know, I wasn't listening. Not listening? What were you listening to then? He chuckled, turning his head so he could see Sasha's face better. Sasha shrugged, watching Mishka's expression. It still hadn't fully set in that Mishka was actually here, that he made it back safe. Mishka had always been there, so when he wasn't, everything had felt so surreal. In the hospital, Mishka had seemed so tense, but now he looked so relaxed that Sasha naturally mirrored the ease. Without thinking about it, Sasha lowered his face closer to Mishka's. Mishka's hand intervened, his gentle fingers resting on either side of Sasha's jaw. As much as I want
Sasha.
to. Sasha, you know how I feel. Sasha's lips parted, but he had nothing to say. He hadn't expected that, but he wasn't surprised. He felt his stomach sink. Mishka brushed his thumb along Sasha's bottom lip, his expression soft. You can't keep feeling this way, not when you don't feel the same way I do. That's not what I... Oh. An intense flush sprawled across Sasha's cheeks, and his gaze wandered as he searched for the right word. What I meant is, like, Mishka watched Sasha, head tilting slightly. There's a reason I like doing those things with you. Sasha's skin felt hot all over. I guess is what I'm trying to say. But you knew how I felt, so why didn't you want to be with me if you had those feelings? Because I was scared? I don't know. I didn't want to mess up what we had. And I didn't want to feel like I was constantly fighting for my freedom. I didn't want things to change. I thought I was happy with how things were, but then when I thought I lost you and that I would never see you again, I just... Sasha's hand movements were exaggerated. He spoke as though he was trying to manually pull the words out of his head. I don't know. The thought just really fucked me up. No amount of change was worse than that. He struggled to look at Mishka in the eye. Mishka didn't respond right away. But if this is just the panic speaking, what do you mean? Mishka huffed, his brow furrowing, as he tried to untangle his thoughts. What if you just think you like me because you just want to keep me around, or because that's better than me being dead? In a way, that's kind of it, isn't it? You don't realize what you want until it's gone. Having a wake-up call doesn't mean my feelings aren't genuine. I don't know, it's just more complicated than all that. I know... Look, all I know is how I feel right now, and right now, God, it's just... I love being around you, okay? Sasha's face grew 3 shades redder. Mishka's heart pounded away in his chest. I love helping you dye your hair and staining my shower pink. I love how you think you're good at Dragon Lab, but you actually kind of suck at it. Mishka choked out a quiet laugh, eyes welling up. I love that you call my mom Mom and that you can make me laugh so easily. And, like nobody else has all my favorite foods memorized. Sasha. What I'm saying is, Sasha. Mishka lifted his hand with a smile and brushed Sasha's bangs out of his eyes. You love me. I mean, the way that I... Why do you think I just said all that? I literally just... Mishka beamed up at Sasha, an overwhelming wave of emotions crashing in them. Tears brimmed in his eyes and spilled down his cheeks. But don't cry. I can't help it. But Sasha, he's been waiting this whole time for you to, like, convey and confess your fucking feelings for him. Mishka's hand moved to the back of Sasha's neck and guided him down toward his face while he gently laughed. He pressed his forehead against Sasha's. Sasha still felt flustered, though the embarrassment had started to melt away as Mishka pulled him close. He couldn't help but smile. I adore you. Sasha closed his eyes and pressed his lips to Mishka's. The world around him grew silent. Sasha's lips were soft, just as Mishka imagined they would be. He leaned into the kiss and let his teary eyes close. Mishka tilted his head and slid his hand upwards, gently gripping Sasha's hair. The warmth shared between them radiated throughout his body. If this was how being in love felt, he was glad he had fallen. Mishka laid back and settled into the bed, basking in contentment. The thought of the greasy pizza kept a smile on his face. You really think I suck at Dragon Lad? He called towards the shower, only hearing a muffled laugh in response. Alright, the morning light crept into the dark bedroom, slipping in between the narrow gap of the curtain. Despite the comforts of his large bed and soft sheets, Dima had been awake all night. He lay staring at the ceiling with a half-lidded gaze, his chest heaving with a tired exhale. He eased himself up onto his elbows and turned his head. Your word means nothing if you don't make any changes. The ache in Dima's chest intensified. The more he sat with the thought, he couldn't catch a wink of sleep. He just lay there, staring at the ceiling. 3, 4, 5. He took a deep breath and rubbed his face with a quiet groan. Reaching for the liner, resting on the nightstand, Dima began fixing over his residual leg. The sleek, highly advanced prosthetic hissed as it locked into place, secured and stable. Dima glanced down and flexed his foot. The man squinted into the dim light and looked back at the nightstand. He patted the surface and searched for his phone, missing the first time. When he found it, Dima sat up on the edge of the bed. His thumb ran along the smooth surface of the smartphone. Will I ever be ready for this? Shaking his head, Dima swiped his finger up on the screen, unlocked it, quickly dialed the number, and lifted his phone to his ear. Crash. The vase shattered when it hit the wall, the impact scattering ceramic and the flower petals all over the floor. Everyone in the meeting lounge, tensed as if holding their breath. I told you to kill him, Ada. His bodyguard was down. I can't possibly understand how you couldn't finish the job. He's all of 20 kilos. Roman's tone was stern and ruthless, his gaze fixed on Ada. Despite the others in the room, he swatted at the air. Ada only bowed his head in response, fist squeezing tight to the palms. Ada. Still, all the nightshade was destroyed. You confirm this at least, yes? Ada nodded and kept his head bowed. Correct. What didn't burn is at the bottom of the lake. That's more important then. Pavel's fast though. There's nothing keeping him from going right back into production. Especially with Ilya backing them. Don't say his name. Sorry, please forgive me. We have time for Ada to correct this oversight, and Pavel's security will be tighter than ever now. A muffled tone rang from Roman's breast pocket. His eyebrows raised as he pulled the phone out, checking the number. The tension on his face immediately melted away and was replaced by a thin smirk. Immersion and Riker exchanged looks, then turned back to Roman. Without bothering to step out of earshot, Roman answered the call, holding the phone to his ear. Are you calling to thank me for the gift I left you at the docks, Dimitri? I'm done. I fold. What do you want about? I said I'm done. I'm disbanding Strexa. You're being dramatic. Roman laughed, glancing down and pushing the shattered vase away with his shoe. I never wanted to fight you. I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't helping Sobena. I'm done playing this game of ours. Roman froze where he stood, his pupils constricting. Ada took a step forward. Sir, is everything alright? Immersion firmly tugged on Riker's coat before shaking his head. It was never supposed to be like this. We were supposed to help Sobena together. But now we're just hurting people and I'm done. No, you're not. Ada froze and stared at Roman, his fingers uncoiling from their tight fists. You're pathetic. This is pathetic. You don't get to do this to me. Not again. Roman, you think you're doing me a favor? I don't need you to hand me the city. I don't need your fucking help. Goodbye, Roman.
No.
Don't you dare, Dimitri. Roman's skin was flushed as he gripped his phone tight. His heart pounded in his ears. He wants to just throw in the towel and disband Strexa. He thinks he's just gonna walk away unscathed. Isn't that a good thing for us? There was a hint of shakiness beneath Riker's tone and his palms were sweaty. Ecto has complete control over Sobena now without Strexa being in the way, right? It means nothing. In one quick motion, Roman kicked the side of the table over and sent magazines that were on top of it flying. A loud clatter resonated across the room. We didn't beat Strexa. He just gave up. It means nothing. This proves nothing. He's running away again. It's all he ever does. Roman dropped his phone on the ground, his hands grabbing for his own head as he paced back and forth, his fingers threaded into light curls and gripped. No. I'm not allowing this. I won't. Everyone else in the meeting watched tentatively, no one daring to speak up and exchange apprehensive looks. All but Ada, whose unwavering gaze stayed fixated on Roman. Then suddenly Roman froze. His hands lowered from his head, though his fingers still curled inward. We won't give them a chance to disband. We're taking the city back now while they're weak. Dima will watch Strexa burn by my hands. I'll sooner tear the city down than watch him just walk away. Sir, if I may, why not take this as an opportunity to focus on retrieving Pavel's work? Would it not be more beneficial to us to be the ones to produce the finalized nightshade? Gah. The entire room jumped and ducked to cover their heads. The chemist dropped to his knees and gripped his shoulder in agony. Blood quickly stained their pale lab coat like a blossoming rose. Roman's shark-like glare bore down on Immersion as he let his arm fall to his side, gun still in hand. Anyone else want to question my decisions? Does anyone else think that I don't know what's best for my own damn company? The silence was disrupted by Immersion's shaky gasp as he desperately used his hand to apply pressure to the bullet wound in his shoulder. Please, Roman, I apologize. I'm sorry. Click. Roman threw the now empty gun into the fireplace, causing embers to spill onto the floor. I'm the only one capable of running Ecto, just like I'm the only one capable of running Sobena. Roman grit his teeth tight. This game ends on my move.
Ada.
Ada pulled up his mask and hastened to Roman's side, a confident glint in his eye. We're finishing this. Ada nodded and reached for both of his weapons. Roman turned and left the conference room, his guard dog following at his heels, always behind him, always loyal. I can run this city better than Dima, Ilya, better than anyone. They'll know soon enough. Light poured into the bedroom and sprawled over Sasha's face, shining directly onto him. He stirred with a groan and pulled his pillow over his head, hiding from the light. Sasha laid there under the pillow for a moment before turning his head to the side. Through a small opening in the bedding, he spotted pink hair. Pulling the sheets and pillow off his head, he eyed Mishka beside him. He was still fast asleep, despite being such a light sleeper. Sasha grinned and sat up on his elbows. He passed out. I don't think I've ever seen him sleep so deeply before. It made sense. The more Sasha dwelled on it, Mishka was still pretty banged up, and after all he had been through, well, I'd probably sleep like that too. Huh? Sasha, will you meet me in the courtyard? Are you mad at me? Sure, on my way. Oh boy. Sasha sighed and let the phone drop back down on his bed sheets. Taking a peek back at Mishka, he was relieved to see him still sleeping despite the buzzing. The courtyard? Do I know where that is? Doing his best to keep quiet and not disturb Mishka, Sasha eased out of the bed and started getting ready. It was best not to keep Pavel waiting. Sasha made his way down the hall, often staring down at the tiled floor. I haven't been here long. It already feels like forever since I ran into Jonas in these halls. And I still don't know my way around. Am I really that bad with directions? No. This place is just a maze. Sasha looked up and when he heard the echo of footsteps. Dima, deep in his multitasking, as he made his way down the hall, looked up from the plump pad. Sasha. Sasha stopped in front of him and rubbed his arm. Since I caught you, I just wanted to say thank you for everything. You don't have to thank me. I want to, though. I could have been left to die, but you took me in. Hell, you could have kicked me out at this point, but you still let me stay and help find Mishka. So yeah, thanks for helping me bring him back. Dima blinked, unsure what to say. What? Nothing. It's just refreshing, I guess. You were so mad at me the first day you were here. So to hear you thank me now, maybe not all of my decisions were bad ones. For what it's worth, you're not a bad leader. Dima couldn't help but smile, though his chest felt heavy all the while. Yeah, well, I'm only a leader for a little while longer. It's official then? Strux is disbanding? It's decided. There's a lot to think about, starting with all the workers and where to place them. It's a whole mess. Sorry, I want to eat this piece of candy. Well, I think you can handle it. Sasha perked up, checking the phone this time. Speaking of which, where's the courtyard? How are those things related? It's Pav. He said he wanted to talk to me and told me to meet him in the courtyard. Dima nodded and reached for the door handle, holding it open for Sasha. The courtyard is in the heart of the facility. You can see it from any given floor. Best to judge head down to ground level. Well, if I get lost, then I'll know who to blame it on. Dima chuckled and shrugged. You can blame me, it's alright. And tell Pav I wish him well. He hasn't spoken to me yet. I'm not so sure he'll be happy to see me, but I'll do what I can. Good luck then. Well, Pavel's just gonna have to be angry. Sasha took a deep breath before opening the heavy glass door that led to the courtyard. The air outside was refreshing and cool. How have I never came out here before? It's gorgeous. It didn't take very long to spot Pavel. He was sitting on a wooden bench surrounded by flowers, a potted plant in the seat next to him. As fitting as the scene was, Sasha noticed a dullness in his friend's expression. Sasha inched closer and stood beside the bench, a sense of unease creeping over him. He cleared his throat and spoke up in his soft voice. Hey, everything okay? Pablo watched the bushes gently sway as the wind traveled between the buildings and through the leaves. A gentle rustle filled the moment of silence between them.
I planted this entire courtyard, you know? It was just an empty dirt patch at first, and no one really noticed it. It was Vadim who inspired me to build this garden.
Sasha's heart felt heavy in his
It
chest.
was just one seed at a time. And now look at it. It's full of life and love.
Pablo's gaze dropped down to the soil and flowers at his feet. Sasha's fingers tapped at the side of his leg as he gathered the courage to speak again. How is Vadim? Pablo's fingers gripped the fabric of his pants, tightly squeezing his fist. He's stable right now, but he's still asleep. He hasn't woken up yet. They don't allow flowers in the ICU, and I needed to be around some, so... Pablo turned to look at Sasha. His eyes were glossy and red. Sasha's stomach twisted into a knot. If I hadn't told Roman about the shipment, Vadim wouldn't have been... I shouldn't want to even look at you right now. Why? See, that's what I don't understand. Like, we were doing what the mission... Whatever. And yet, you're the only person I could think to be around. Sasha looked down at his feet, an ache in his stomach. Pavai, the words disappeared before Sasha could get them out. I wanted to help the city. I wanted this to work so badly, but now a part of me thinks it never would have. Sasha tilted his head and stepped forward. He moved to sit next to Pavel, but stopped upon seeing the plant on the bench. Pavel eyed Sasha, then reached over and hoisted the potted flower into his lap, freeing the space beside him for Sasha to sit. Sasha was quiet as he sat down, watching his friend. Struxa has always used its money and connections to influence the city, and we've always done these things behind the scenes. Dima, though. I thought that with the mayor's help we could actually do it this time. We could expedite the clinical trials and finally help Sobena, the way we've always wanted, the way Natalie wanted. Sasha wrung his hands together in his lap, the sinking feeling in his stomach still gnawing at him. And it still didn't work. No matter how hard we try, Ecto is always one step ahead, ready to clip our wings. I'm tired, Sasha, and I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to continue to put Vadim in harm's way. It's just not worth it. The longer I stay here, the greater my chances are of losing him. And maybe you shouldn't. Pavel turned his head, his eyes wide as he searched Sasha's face. Vadim getting hurt wasn't your fault. Sasha felt a lump in his throat as he spoke, and I'm so sorry that Vadim got hurt. I never meant for that to happen. I'm partly to blame. I told Roman where the shipment was. I didn't even consider what could happen if Roman knew. Roman knew what he was doing. Dima told me. You did what you felt you had to do to save Mishka. I know. Tears burned in Pavel's eyes. He wiped them back on the back of his hand. At the moment, Sasha slid closer to Pavel until their shoulders touched. No. Sasha, it's not your fault. With a big shuttered sigh, Pavel leaned down and rested his head on Sasha's shoulder. You didn't kidnap Mishka, you didn't burn down the shipment, and you didn't force Vadim to jump in front of me. It's hard to admit because this wasn't how things were supposed to go. But everyone had made their choices that have led them to this moment. Not just you. Sasha let his head lean on Pav's, all of his tension draining. He sighed and closed his eyes. Two of them sat on the bench in silence as the wind blew through the trees. Once Vadim is discharged, I'm packing our bags and leaving Sobena. Sasha lifted his head, looking over at Pavel. You're leaving the city? Pavel nodded and sat up straight, once more glancing down at the plant in his lap. I put Vadim's ambitions on the back burner for far too long. He's always been so patient, and he wanted me to finish my work here. But we've always talked about traveling and looking for answers that aren't going to be found in this city. There was an ache in Sasha's chest while he listened. The thought of Pavel leaving the city was heartbreaking. That's why I want you to have this. Pavel set the potted plant carefully in Sasha's lap. Sasha grabbed the sides and held it steady, glancing at the purple flower. The last nightshade flower I used to make nightshade. Sasha turned his head in shock, his eyes wide. The last one? What about your lab? What about all your flowers? Once more, Pavel closed his eyes. His voice shook when he spoke. It's all gone. I saw it myself. I don't want my work to fall into the wrong hands ever again. But why would you give it to me? I know nothing about plants. You know that. It should be up to the people of Sobena to decide what kind of future they want, and I believe that starts with you. And there are instructions for how to care for it in the USB there, and some research notes. Pavel gave a weak smile and motion toward the plant. I trust you'll know what to do with it. Sasha's wide-eyed gaze switched between Pavel and the flower in his lap. He noticed a small USB in a cellophane bag taped on the side of the pot.
Pav.
What if I make the wrong choice? When we were told a civilian was in the Strexa hospital, I could feel a shift begin. You may not felt lost. You may have felt lost, but there was something in you that I hadn't seen here for a long time. You have this spirit that only comes from those free from the world we live in. I was worried that this place would consume you and snuff that spirit out, but it didn't. The choices you made to save Mishka were difficult ones, but you made them by following your heart. Sasha tightened his grip on the pot. It was probably just luck that it worked out, and I almost always had help. Pavel set his hand on Sasha's thighs, smiled, gentle and soft. Sasha, that's what sets you apart. You're capable of much more than you're giving yourself credit for. That's more than luck. Whatever you decide to do with the nightshade, that would be the right choice. Sasha's vision grew blurry as Pavel's words, and he fought the urge to cry. I never really felt like I'd done much. It's just been me. But if he believes in me, maybe. Sasha lifted his hand to wipe his eyes, unable to keep the tears from showing. He was careful not to shake the plant. You've been a good friend to me since I've been here. I don't think I would have been okay without you. Pavel threw his arms around Sasha and pulled him close. He buried his face into Sasha's neck, wiping his tears onto his friend. Oh, Pavel, don't leave. Sasha sniffled against Pavel's arm and he squeezed him tighter. I'm gonna miss him. As much as you put your faith into others, have some faith in yourself too. You're gonna be great no matter what you do. Okay, any more cheese is gonna kill me. Are you lactose intolerant, Sasha? Just then a loud ringing blared from Pavel's pocket. He squinted down at it and fished for the phone. Pulling it out, Pavel took one look at the number, then glanced up at Sasha with wide eyes. Jumping the stand, he pressed the phone to his ears and paced near the bench. Any news?
No.
Sasha scrambled to hold the plant, then started to topple out of his lap when Pavel launched off the bench. He's what? He's awake? Really? He's awake? Sasha's eyes widened and he looked up at Pavel, who was halfway across the courtyard, shouting, Okay, I'm on my way. Sasha, he's awake. Sasha's eyes lit up as he nodded, understanding Pavel's sudden urgency. He waved to his friend, watching while he sped off. Go, go, go. Without Pavel in it, the courtyard was too quiet. Sasha leaned back against the bench and looked at the flower that bobbed in the wind. It should be up to the people of Sobena to decide what kind of future they want, and I believe that starts with you. I have no clue where to even begin with this. I don't even have the equipment, money, or connections. I don't even know anybody in the community who... Sasha gasped and shot up from his seat. I know what to do. He cradled the plant under his arm and sprinted for the door. I gotta tell him. Sasha rushed down the hall as fast as he could without dropping the plant. His footsteps echoed and squeaked as he turned the corners and quickened his pace. He better still be in this apartment. When he ran past Mishka's door number, Sasha slid to a stop. His sneakers slipped against the smooth tile as he nearly wiped out. Oh.
Mishka
Had just opened the door and was stepping out as a blurry Sasha skidded by. Mishka. Sasha stumbled to the floor and stood upright. He thrust the pot out in front of him. His breathing labored from all the running. Burning, girl. Mishka looked down and eyed the plant, a smirk growing on his face. And here I thought you were getting food. Doesn't look edible. This is way more important than food. I never thought you'd find something more important than food, though you're gonna have to explain this one to me. What's with the plant? I went to see Pav. He gave me this. He said that it was the last flower from the nightshade strain, and that he trashed all the others. He trashed his work? Why would he? He doesn't want it to end up in the wrong hands, something like that. Mishka stared at the flower, squinting at it, increasing curiosity. Okay, so this is the last nightshade flower in existence? Yeah. And he gave it to you? Trusted me with it? Yeah. Okay, no offense, but what are you supposed to do with it? You know absolutely nothing about plant-related. Okay, first of all, you're absolutely right. Second, I thought the same thing at first, but now I get it. It should be up to the people of Sobena to decide what kind of future they want, not Strexa. That could help. But that still doesn't answer what you're going to do with it unless you can engineer drugs now. That's the thing. I think I should give this plant to Natalie. Pav left a USB with instructions and some research notes, so... Natalie? Yes, we need someone with connections and Natalie runs all the community events. I mean, you should have seen this lady's cork board. It was overflowing with flyers. When did you... I went to her gym to see if she'd help us find you. You did that for me? Why are you so surprised? Anyways, back to the plant, right? Sasha, this is a lot. This seems bigger than us, bigger than what we're capable of. That's because it is bigger than us, which means we can't do it alone. That's why we give back to the community, and Natalie will know just how to do that. We have to at least try, right? I've never felt like I can make a difference and it actually means something, but now it feels like we have a chance. Mishka stared down at Sasha in awe, a sense of fondness swelling in his chest. He's changed so much. I have a lot of catching up to do, don't I? The glint of Sasha's eyes was contagious, and Mishka found himself smiling.
Well...
Alright, let's do it then. We can do this. Sasha beamed, gripping the potted plant tight. Great, so where's Natalie? Excuse me, I'm sorry. I ate breakfast. Mishka lifted a hand and rubbed at the back of his neck, his smile weakening. I somehow thought you knew. You seemed so confident. No, you're giving me too much credit. But seriously, any idea where she could be? I realize she's always been a bit hard to track down, though I did talk to her. I did want to talk to her. Maybe Indigo knows? Ah, hold this.
Sasha!
Careful, please. Taking his phone from his pocket, Sasha quickly scrolled through his contacts. He pressed the call button and switched to the loudspeaker. After a few dial tones, the call finally clicked. Hello? Sasha? Hey, Indigo. Mishka, are you feeling any better? A little, but you know. Indigo, this is important. Do you know where Natalie is?
Natalie?
Rude. She left really early this morning for a fundraiser. Why? I have something important to give to her sooner rather than later. Is everything okay? Yes, mostly. I can explain more later. Well, the fundraiser is at Struxa Tower. I was about to head over there myself. I was just had to get ready, and you know how that can be sometimes. Sasha looked down at his sweatpants and t-shirt. He noted a grease stain. Sure. Are you guys going? Or yeah, but we'll just meet you there. See you soon then. Can we get food on the way though? Sure, once we figure out how we're getting us there. I think that's what that said. I don't know what the fuck that said. You got your C card? Mishka nudged the plant back into Sasha's arms while they both stood at the bus stop. He leaned forward to better look at Sasha's face, then glanced down at the plant. Yeah, I got it. No worries. The bus is running late though. Are you sure this is the right stop? Yeah, I looked it up before we left. It should be here by now. Sasha tapped idly as he looked around. The bus stop was surprisingly empty. Oh wait, there it is. Thank God, I thought we'd have to walk. You walk? I wouldn't have dreamt. Sasha chuckled and bumped his hip into Mishka's. The bus rounded the corner and chugged down the street, easing to a squeaky halt. Sasha dug into his pocket and pulled out the seat card. As the doors creaked open, he stepped onto the bus and swiped the card. A small light near by the feed box flickered green, and the compact turnstile lifted, allowing him to pass. Mishka followed suit, scanned his card, and motioning towards two empty seats nearby, near the back of the bus. These seats looked not as dirty as they could be. Sasha sat near the window and secured the plant in his lap, taking extra caution not to let it spill out. Now to Natalie. Mishka leaned back into the seat, unable to hide a smile. Onward to Natalie. Before long, the bus rocketed down the street in busy intersections, switching lanes and weaving in and out of traffic with impressive precision. Sasha stared out the window as the blur of the city streamed by. He watched the flow of the traffic, the flicker of the neon lights, and the windows of the shops, and the way the setting sun reflected off the buildings they passed. The deeper into downtown they drove, the more his heart soared with fondness. The city always felt welcoming to Sasha, and he knew Mishka felt the same. This was their home. Man, I hope this is the right choice. It has to be. Hey. Sasha blinked and turned his head, eyes wide.
Sasha.
Everything okay? You seem kind of spaced out. I mean, I kind of am, and I'm kind of not. I've been thinking about what you said earlier about this being a lot. Yeah? What if I'm making the wrong choice? Wait, what do you mean? Do you think he made a mistake? Yeah, like, what if he's wrong? Mishka took a deep breath, looked out the window over Sasha's head. He stared for a minute, his fingers drumming over his knees. Regardless of what happens, Pav knew you'd put your heart into doing what you think is right. I think any one of us would have thought that you were making the right choice. In my opinion, Sasha sighed, leaning his head over on Mishka's shoulder. Thanks, Mishka. This fate of the whole city stuff is exhausting. You'd make a terrible superhero. They both laughed and sat in silence for the remainder of the ride, content to let the moment linger. Next stop, Struxa Tower Plaza. The bus dragged itself next to the curb and rolled to the stop. Its heavy body sank with an exhale of hydraulics before the doors flung open. Sasha and Mishka stood from their seats and started for the exit. Thanks, man. Mishka waved to the bus driver and hurried down the small steps. Once up onto the sidewalk, he squinted and glanced up the tower overhead. So busy right now. Sasha held the plant close and stared up as well, eyeing the tower with the mass of people. Flowers decorated almost every inch of the lobby. Vines crawled up along the industrial pillars while display banners hung from the poles overhead and signaling of the fundraiser. Yeah, it's really bopping. I guess that means the fundraiser's going well. Looks like it, and they sure decked this place out. Either that or a massive sale going on and we made a mistake. The two of them laughed as they headed up into the atrium. Sasha took a deep breath. The sounds of people talking and children running about filled their ears as they entered. Somewhere beneath the ambiance of the crowd, music played from the mounted speakers across the way. Holy shit, I only see crowds like this during the holidays. Yeah, it's a bit uncomfy. Mishka scowled as he was forced to squeeze past a group of shoppers just to stay near Sasha. Sasha chuckled and cradled the plant close, securing it in his arms as he entered the crowd. Yo, do you remember that time my mom brought us here to ice skate? And you completely busted your ass? It was so cold that night. Well, yeah, but also you kept fighting the attendant over not being allowed to skate as fast as you wanted. Hey, I should be allowed to skate as fast as I want. It's my face that busts, not theirs. That's such a weird hill to die on. No worries. Here, let me get that for you. Sasha stopped in his tracks and glanced around to see where the voice was coming from. Oh, there's Indigo. Sasha lifted on to his tippy toes to get a better look, following Mishka's gaze to the crowd. He spotted Indigo picking up a small jacket that must have fallen off a woman's stroller. Indigo! Sasha lifted an arm to wave to her. Indigo raised her head at the sound of her name being called, her wide eyes stares scanning the nearby crowd. When she spotted them, her face lit up. Mishka, there you are. She waved goodbye to the woman before swerving past a few people as she approached, giving them both a wide smile. So glad you both could make it. Blinking in curiosity a few times, she stared down at the plant in Sasha's hands. What's that? A flower? Why do you have a flower? It's kind of hard to explain. Where's Natalie? Indigo nodded with enthusiasm and reached for Sasha's less occupied hand. Clasping tight, Indigo turned back towards the crowd, pulling him along behind her. Sasha looked back at Mishka, who was keeping up just fine with Indigo's rushed pace. Mishka lifted a brow and grinned at the sight of Sasha, stumbling after Indigo. He squeezed through the crowd after them. Indigo giggled and guided them through the throngs of people. She skillfully maneuvered Sasha and Mishka to a row of tables. Natalie stood behind the table handing out flyers and clipboards to those willing to sign the petition.
Natalie?
They're here.
Hey.
Nat, how's it going? You guys look swamped. Natalie nodded, picked up another clipboard, circled something, and handed it off to another volunteer. Everyone loves urban gardens. There's something most people can agree on, that we need more of them in the city. We decorated the place with a bunch of plants and flowers. It's really great, isn't it? Sasha smiled and nodded. It really did brighten the place up. Natalie's heels echoed through the noise of the crowd as she rounded the corner of the table. Setting her hands on her hips, Natalie smirked at them both. Indigo let go of Sasha's hand and leaned back against the table, smiling. It's been like this all morning. We really need a turnout like this. Is Ari here? No, they're back at the gym, redirecting people and running all of our social media accounts. Yeah, that sounds about right. Marketing is their kind of thing. Seriously, that's probably how so many people heard about the fundraiser today. I'm a little surprised to see you out and about, Mishka. I thought you'd want to stay and rest some more. Well, I would have if someone hadn't been knocking on my door incessantly over a flower. He motioned towards the plant. Natalie concentrated on Mishka, searching his expression for context before shifting her gaze to Sasha. She eyed the pot he held.
Okay.
Alright, so this is what brought you here then. Sasha gave a sheepish smile and lifted his hand, rubbing the back of his neck. Natalie's confidence was almost intimidating. Yeah, it seemed better to tell you in person. Can we go somewhere a little quieter? Let's go to the lobby. It's less busy over there. Please, this crowd is killing me. Natalie sighed and tapped her finger on her hip, eyeing the line of people at the table.
Okay.
Alright, but make it quick. We're swamped here and I don't have a ton of volunteers unless you two are interested. She smirked and winked at Sasha. You don't want me to manage anything? I second that. Who said anything about managing? I'd have you pass out flyers. What a great use of my talents. Indigo rolled her eyes and laughed. Pushing away from the table, she motioned towards the tower lobby. Once the four were out of the commotion of the crowd, Natalie crossed her arms over her chest and nodded.
Okay.
Alright, what's this about, Sasha? Yeah, my curiosity is killing me.
Okay.
Alright. I met up with Pav in the courtyard earlier and he gave me this. Sasha thrust the plant out in front of him as he spoke. Indigo squinted, then blinked in surprise.
Huh?
That's Nightshade, isn't it? Yep. Natali's gaze flickered between Sasha and the potted plant.
Yep.
Wait, yep, it's the last Nightshade flower with the anti-addiction properties Pop engineered. Pop said he took care of the rest. His lab is completely empty. Why would he do that? Natali stared at the flower, her arms easing away from her chest and settling down at her sides. Because he's leaving, isn't he? Sasha hung his head, a gentle sigh, leaving him as he nodded. Pav. He said when Vadim's better, they're leaving, Sobena. He trusted Sasha with the plant, which I can only assume means he trusts us with the plant. There was a USB in the pot, too. Probably instructions and research. That was my guess. Strexa is a massive company. It doesn't make sense for them to make all the decisions for the city. We should. The people of Sobena. I guess to Pav, that was me, and to me, that's us. Sasha offered the pot to Natali. And by us, I mean you, Natali, because Mishka and I don't know what the hell we're doing. But I'll help however I can, really. I want to do this. I want to be involved. And you know I'll help too. Natali blinked in surprise, her eyes fixed on Sasha the entire time.
This is a first.
Natali took the plant and carefully lifted it so she could better examine it.
I don't think Strexa was off to a bad start. There's a lot of good intention, money, and influence there. Still, their approach was too detached, and good intentions or not, the city is suffering due to a system that Strexa was a part of. But we're not broken, waiting to be fixed. We're real people, living our own stories. And real change starts at the ground level.
Indigo glanced at Natali's expression and smiled to herself, her hands clasping in front of her.
It's important to remember that every step of the way.
She smiled down at the plant, a glint of softness in her
And
eyes.
This plant will help us get there.
That said, your help would be appreciated. If we could get Dima on board, we could do great things here. Sasha's smile grew, his chest swelling with warmth. I think we can really do this. We can. You know what? I was waiting for this to happen. Smoke billowed out around them as the sound of shattered glass rained down into the tile floor. I fucking knew this was gonna happen. I had an idea. I had an inkling. Without a second to spare, Mishka grabbed Sasha and pulled him to the ground. Get down, everyone, get down. Natali reached for Indigo and pulled her down to the concrete behind a small plant partition. With his heart pounding, Sasha spun his head around and kept close to Mishka. What the f? Mishka lifted his arm and covered his head, grimacing at gunfire echoing. We have to get people out of here now. Mishka scowled and gritted his teeth. He leaned around the partition, attempting to see anything. No sign of assailant. I don't know how to say the word anywhere. Fuck, I can't see anything. Sasha gripped Indigo's arm, flinching with every sound. Excuse me. He hunkered down beside her, the two as close as possible. Indigo's breathing became erratic, rapid, and uneven. She cupped her hands over her mouth to try and still her hyperventilation. Sasha felt his own pulse race as fear coursed through his body. Where's the flower? Sasha frantically whipped his head to see Natali still cradling it, though some of the soil had spilled out. I've got it. Stay down. More glass rained over the mall floors above them, crashing to the ground. Everyone hurried to cover their necks. We can't just sit here. We have to find better cover or an exit. Natali, can you see anything at all? Commotion turned into chaos as frantic swarms of people ran for safety. No, I can't. There's too much smoke to see the exit signs. Indigo, take the plant. Natali shoved the potted plant over to Indigo. She nodded and hugged it close into her shaking hands, tears streaming down her face. There's got to be an emergency exit somewhere, or at least in the back of the store. They all lead to outside, right? We don't know that, and we don't want to get stuck somewhere either. Well, we can't stay here. Two people running for the lights collapsed and hit the ground nearby, unmoving. Panic shot up Sasha's neck, making the hair stand up on the end while staring at the bodies. The high-pitched ringing in his ear drowned out the sounds of screams and gunfire. As someone suddenly turned the volume back up, Sasha felt a rush of overwhelming noise wash over him. He gasped and turned his head towards Mishka. Sasha, did you hear me? We have to move. Feeling his heartbeat in his fingertips, Sasha took a deep breath. Mishka peered over the edge of the partition again. Noticing a pause in the gunfire, he spotted a large kiosk decorated in jewelry and hair accessories. The kiosk, Natali, it's bigger and halfway to the store there. It's the only option we got. He nodded towards Natali, who signaled for the rest to follow her. Now, make it to the kiosk. Natalie grabbed Indigo's arm, keeping her close. Sasha, now. Sasha felt the pressure of Mishka's hand on his bicep and squeezed his eyes shut while he ran. Don't get shot, don't get shot. God, please. Once again, they were all huddled behind the kiosk. Sasha exhaled loudly. His legs felt like jelly, unable to hold him up much longer. Mishka exhaled a sigh of relief and dug into his pocket, brandishing a knife. He held it out to Sasha. It was small and compact, but it would do the job. Take this, and please, please be careful. I can't take this. I don't even know how to use it. If you have to, you'll figure it out. Just take it, please. Sasha silently grabbed the knife and held it close. Pressing his back against this cover, Mishka eased over to the side and peered around it. He spotted a horde of men dressed in full militia gear, not a single police officer in sight. Natalie, we need to call Dima. We need backup. There's no way we can... Alright. We'll put out the distress signals, but in the meantime, we have to get these people out of here. With a nod, Mishka, Natalie, and Indigo reached for their phones. Indigo's hands shook while she pressed the button. 3 distress signals, I'm sure he'll get the point. That was my chair, people. What's our next move? It's hard to see anything through the smoke, but it looks like most of the civilians ran towards the south side. They must be coming in from behind. God damn it. We have to do something, anything. Another chorus of screams resonated throughout the shopping center with the return of gunfire. A smoke bomb went off, filling the shopping center with gas. Mishka hunkered down and rubbed at his eyes. Natalie took another look around, swearing under her breath. Sasha glanced at the closet stores, trying to find an exit route. 3 people, a mother, father, and child, were huddled together behind a magazine shelf in the bookstore, close to the kiosk. Sasha's heart pounded in his chest. Look. Sasha pointed to the frightened family that had been cornered. There was no foreseeable way for them to escape without running into the line of fire. Indigo turned her head, her eyes growing wide at the sight of a crying child. We have to help. We're likely to get shot trying to help them. So, what are we supposed to do? Just sit here? Sasha, his body rigid with apprehension, balled his hands into fists. Wait, maybe the bookstore has a back room or emergency exit in the back. We can get the family out and funnel the civilians to the back. We can't help anyone if we don't have a secured exit route. What if there is no exit back there?
Good evening, Strexa Tower. I hope you've enjoyed the show so far. You have none other than Strexa itself to thank for that.
Is that Roman?
Strexa promises your protection and buys your loyalty with malls, transportation, infrastructure, all while guaranteeing your obedience by dangling the cure for the addiction they gave you over your heads.
This is bullshit. Where is Dima? Indigo set the plant down on the ground in front of her before reaching for her phone. Her hands shaking, she quickly dialed 911 and pressed the phone to her ear, biting her lip.
Now, they wish to silently pull the rug out from beneath you, taking their promise of a better future with them. All of this chaos is happening because of them. Because of the balance they threaten. And Sobena is caught in the crossfire.
Just then, the smoke and debris, a familiar figure rushed into the
Isn't
chaos.
that right, Dimitri?
Oh. Dima? A group of Strexa agents followed Dima into a lobby and spread out, taking cover. Shots were fired and driving them back. Dima's arm lowered from his head, just long enough to spot the 4 near the kiosk. Dima, get down! Dima ducked as the bullets flew by and sprinted over, pressing his back to the kiosk. What are we dealing with here, Natalie? We've got civilians to secure, and there are gunmen at almost every angle. From what I can see, there's no clear exit route. I could cause a distraction or draw them away. Sasha grabbed Mishka's arm and shook his head violently. No, you're not doing that.
But it's not too late. The safety of these people still rests in your hands, Dimitri. If you want to protect them, all you have to do is come to the tower's control room. Just you.
God damn it. You all get those civilians to safety. I'll go talk to Roman. Sasha whipped his head around and stared at Dima, his eyes wide. You don't have to go. Don't play into this fucker's game.
I have to.
Natalia, I have to. We'll find another way.
And to keep things on schedule.
What? No, no!
Every 10 minutes you make me wait, a civilian will be thrown from the 40th floor.
No.
Oh my god, what do we do? I'll get Dima to the elevator, then catch up with you guys. More people will die if we don't do this. He's right. We can't just give up on his tactics. We need to focus on evacuating and let the police do their job. I've tried to contact the police, but it won't connect. Were they paid off? What the fuck? Sasha grabbed for Mishka's eyes wide. As they looked up, a body in free fall plummeted towards the ground. Look away. Face hidden against Mishka's chest, every muscle in Sasha's body was tense. Mishka held Sasha close, his heart pounding. Natalie cradled Indigo and kept her close. Indigo's eyes were still squeezed shut, her hands pressed firmly over her ears. 10 minutes, Dimitri. Mishka, get me to the elevator. I have to end this. I have to go. Natalie clicked her tongue. I'm going to find an escape route then. Indigo, grab the plant, keep it safe. We're going to help these people. Indigo nodded quietly, tears smudged on her glasses.
Sasha.
Go with Natalie and help her. Sasha shook his head. Sasha, please listen to him. Natalie will keep you safe. Promise me you'll stay with her? No, I'm not letting you guys go up there alone. Hearing a break in the gunfire, Natalie burst out from behind the kiosk and headed towards the bookstore. Sprinting up behind the gunsman, she roundhouse kicked the assassin head with her stiletto and watched him drop to the ground. Let's move. Once the guy was down, Natalie picked up the gun and ran, making sure Indigo was in towel and covered. This way. A few hidden civilians took the opportunity to follow Natalie. Indigo helped guide them along as they made their way for an exit. Sasha, go. I said no, I'm not leaving you. The jewelry hanging over them shattered as gunfire pelted the kiosk, sending the glass and gold flying. A stray bullet grazed Sasha's arm, cutting through the fabric of his shirt.
Sasha.
He winced. Sasha, fuck, are you okay? Are you hurt? We don't have time, we have to go now. Knowing that Sasha was right, Mishka darted his head around, spotted for an elevator. Its doors were wide open and the way was clear. We don't have a choice, he's coming with us, I'll protect them, let's go. God damn it, fine. The assault on the kiosk hardly let up, the assassins drawing closer to the cover with every second. Sasha, keep your head down. Mishka grasped Sasha's hand tight and sprinted for the elevator. Someone slammed into Mishka's side with enough force to knock him to the ground. He clenched his teeth and gripped his side, pain rocking through him. Mishka looked up to see Ada rushing towards him. Sasha halted in his tracks, his shoes squeaking on the floor as he spun around and watched Mishka hit the ground. Dima, already in the elevator, turned and started for them. No, Dima, go. Dima hesitated and stepped back and let the elevator door close. Mishka took a deep breath and pulled out his knives, flipping them in his palms. Alright, you got my full attention now, Ada. Ada flipped his knives and rushed forward, closing his distance between them with a terrifying speed. Mishka threw his arms up to shield himself and staggered back. He grimaced Ada's vicious blows, forcing him backwards, causing him to lose ground. Sasha gasped and ran forward, only to be stopped by a sheer terror of the knife finding in front of him. He squeezed the hilt of the knife in his hand. I have to help, I have to help. Mishka dodged to the right and ducked, giving himself enough room to reel his arm back and thrust the knife up towards Ada. Ada twisted out of reach and gripped his knives tighter, and his stare burning with resolve. Ada, that's enough. You can choose to stop. You don't have to do this for him. Mishka yelled as he stepped back and blocked Ada's knife with his own. Ada swung at Mishka once more, their forearms slamming together in a locked hold. Love doesn't look like this. Ada's eyes widened as Mishka's blade came dangerously close to the face. He leaned back just out of reach.
No,
You're wrong. Oh, sorry. Didn't know Ada was gonna be talking? It was Mishka's turn to feel the cold metal graze his cheek, Ada's knife dangerously close to his skin. Is your life just one more thing you'll give up for him? You don't know anything. The swift strike at Mishka's hand, Ada knocked the knife out of his grip and sent it flying far from the two. Sasha gasped and panic shot through his spine. Ada slammed his elbow into Mishka's injured side and brought his shoulder low, knocking him to the ground. Mishka! Mishka grimaced and cried out in pain, clenching his teeth together. In spite of having slammed into the floor, he scrambled to his feet instantly. Blood ran from the corner of his mouth down to his chin. He paused, his breath heavy. Mishka glanced over at Sasha, then back at Ada. You need to let him go. You are stronger than the hold he has on you. Stop pitying me, Ada yelled, strands of hair falling over his face.
I choose to be at his side. I choose to love him. No one will ever love him the way I do. You're weak. You're nothing compared to me. I'm perfect.
Oh. Ada's chest heaved with every word, his wrist trembling while they squeezed both knives. Sasha's heart pounded in his chest. His eyes felt heavier than lead. A single flower petal twirled down from the sky in front of him. He blinked in confusion and looked up. Barely suspended above them was a giant hanging garden, battered and broken by the earlier explosions of the gunfire. Flowers clung to one another in desperation. Some had tipped out of the garden and fallen to the ground below. A shredded fundraiser banner draped over the last remaining tattered rope, dangling near the railing above. Sasha only now noticed the array of flower petals scattering at his feet. He stared down at his palm and at the knife he held tight, the knife Mishka had given to him earlier. He lifted his gaze and stared at Ada. Oh God. I don't want to... Hold up. I'm gonna do something. Just in case I make the wrong move. Run to the rope. Sasha bolted for the escalator. He ran up the metal steps as fast as he could. Knife in hand, Sasha raced over to the rope, grabbed it. He grimaced as the friction of the rope burned into his palm. He pressed the knife to the splintering threads and sawed as hard as he could. Mishka stared at Ada, his breath labored and uneven.
Yourself, then leave him?
That's enough.
Ada's scowl twisted into a smile, the corners of his mouth twitching. He flipped his knife over his hands.
Everything when I'm with him.
Mishka's shoulders sank at that moment, his expression softening. Ada's fingers twitched and curled over the hilt of his weapons. He lunged forward at lightning speed, his smile breaking into a snarl. Don't look at me like that.
Mishka, tuck and roll!
Mishka looked up and the rope gave away. Ada pulled back and scrambled to divert his course. The sound of wood... The sound of wood cracking and splintering as the garden plummeted into the ground was terrifying. Flower petals shot upward as the debris smashed into the earth, scattering them into the air. Sasha felt his breath hitch in his throat, his eyes scanning for Mishka. His hands gripped the metal railing of the second level as he called out his voice. Through the cloud of debris and petals, Mishka pushed up off the floor and stood. He coughed and wiped his bloody mouth with the back of his hand. A sigh of relief washed over Sasha, his grip on the railing losing. The railing, what? Thank God. The floral mound in the center of the lobby was still there, only for a moment longer. Ada broke through the layer of soil and flowers and swayed to his feet, blood streaming down his temple. His body staggered as he grabbed for the vines, entangling him and ripped them off one by one. I'm gonna kill you both. He coughed, blood spurting from his broken lip. Tiny particles of glass rained down from the atrium above. Like rain, they fell and drizzled over the lobby. Ada looked up. Sasha and Mishka followed Ada's gaze upward, spotting Roman holding onto a scaffolding ledge hundreds of feet above them. Dima climbed out of a broken window pane and out onto the scaffolding attempt to reach Roman. Then Roman let go. Every second lasted a lifetime. With Ada frozen in place, Mishka ran for the escalator in spite of the pain that shot through him with each step. Sasha squeezed his eyes shut and dropped to his knees, holding onto the railing so tight his hands shook. Sasha. Moments felt like minutes, and only when he heard the distant sound of Mishka calling out to him, Sasha dared open his eyes. He cracked them open slowly at first, letting his vision adjust before he turned his head. Mishka knelt beside him, his arms tight around Sasha. Sasha leaned forward and buried his head into Mishka's shoulders, gripping him tight. It's alright, I'm here. Sasha clung to Mishka's shirt, his body shaking. His gaze flickered towards the broken garden, but Ada wasn't there. Sasha's shoulders relaxed, his body becoming limp in Mishka's embrace.
Sasha.
Tears welled in his eyes. Sasha, look. Sasha lifted his head from Mishka's body and saw a swarm of people in white and black uniforms rush into the lobby, guns drawn. They poured in and began ushering civilians out, escorting people to the broken doors and windows. Trucks operators, but how? Did Dima...
What the hell?
Where is he? Hurry up and find him. We gotta get these people out of here. A familiar purple-haired man stormed in with the troop, directing smaller groups to break off and spread out. Medics, get the wounded into the ambulance and start triage. Send the civilians outside to Natalie and Indigo. They'll direct them. Sasha smiled, his body exhausted. He leaned on Mishka as they both eased to a stand. Up here. Pavel looked up and beamed, his arm waving frantically. Mishka! Thank God you guys are okay. I came as soon as I heard your distress calls. I couldn't just leave you guys. And I brought some friends. Pavel cracked and ran down to the escalator. Sasha couldn't have been even more happier to see someone. He hobbled onto the escalator with Mishka and stepped off at the bottom. You're a fucking lie escaper, Pav. The elevator doors across the library opened with a loud ding. Dima stepped out, cradling his arms, staggering, barely able to stay on his feet. He was bloody and battered, and his neck was covered in bruises. Oh no, I'll go get the medic. Mishka turned and looked toward the elevators as Pav ran off to find help, his eyes widening. They hurried over and took each of Dima's arms around their shoulders, supporting his weight. Dima leaned on Mishka and looked toward the fountain. The waters was still stained red, but it was empty.
Mishka,
Where?
where?
Dima coughed, his voice hoarse. Dima searched Mishka's expression for an answer. 1 second, I was fighting with Ada, and the next he backed off. After that, Pav and Strexa's ops rushed in. Ada and Roman are gone, I don't know where. I see. Dima's body sagged and collapsed to the ground. Hey, Pav, where's that medic? The medic team rushed towards Dima. I'm here, we're here. He'll be alright, we got him. Sasha nodded, though the worry was still written plainly across his face. He watched as the paramedics tended to Dima and secured him to the gurney. Have you heard from Natalie and Indigo, Pav? I saw them escorting people outside. Natalie had like 2 giant guns, and Indigo had the plant. It was kind of like badass. Sasha smiled, but it was short-lived. The reality of what just happened festered at the back of his mind. Good. I'm glad they got the people out. You guys should also be on the lookout, as you don't look so good, like, relatively speaking. Sasha eyed Mishka and turned back to Pavel. Probably for the best. Mishka shook his head with a grin and rested his hand on the small of Sasha's back. I don't mind hospital food, honestly. Pavel waved his arm in the air and beckoned another medic team over. They corralled Sasha and Mishka into a spare ambulance with Pavel close behind. He watched them climb in and smile.
Let's get you two out of here.
With a sigh of relief, Pavel shut the ambulance doors.
I'm finally sleeping through the night, and the nightmares have calmed down. It took a long time, but things are starting to look up. Being near the tower is still hard though, but that's okay. We're finding more than enough ways to stay busy. Mishka and I, that is. He might need more time, but I'll continue to be there for him, however I can.
You know what? The park looks better now. It's just a big dirt field. You think so? Wind jostled the trees surrounding the now empty park. All the old playground equipment had been uprooted and the land leveled up for construction. Yeah, I have no idea how it lasted as long as it did. That slide was barely holding itself together. Same. Well, now that we've got approval from the mayor, we can turn this place around. Good. Wasn't easy on the eyes. Sasha wiped his brow with the back of his hand as he sat on the newly renovated bench, exhausted from the day's work. I'm glad it's getting renovated. Now kids won't fall off that shit and bust their eyebrows. Sasha leaned over to the side of the bench and grabbed a water bottle from the cooler. What are you doing? I'm taking a break. You've hardly worked since your last break. I'm fragile, my body's still adjusting to all this heavy lifting. Maybe you should join my kickboxing class. I'll whip you into shape in no time. Nope, I'd rather not. Natalie chuckled and headed over to a group of workers on the other side of the park. Digging into his pants pocket, Sasha pulled out his phone. It was no surprise who was calling when he looked at the screen. The second the video chat started, Sasha could hear meowing in the background.
Sasha!
Hello, good morning to you. I'm at work. I know, I wanted to see how the park project was coming along. Show me, show me. Sasha laughed and looked and shook his head. He turned the phone around to show the desolate, muddy construction site. Wow, is it done? Yeah, the kids are gonna love rolling around in the dirt. Of course it's not done. Pavel laughed and disappeared from the view, only to pop back in the frame with Tulip in his arms. Seems like you're working hard then. I'm proud of you. Taking Tulip's paw in his hand, Pavel waved her little beans at the camera. Oh, speaking of proud, how's the nightshade doing? I heard Natalia and Dima found some community funding for a new clinical trial. Yeah, the mayor and the city council dragged ass on approving our request, but it should be settled now. Never knew a nonprofit had to go through so much. I don't know what that word is. I guess that's legal life for ya. Sasha laughed and leaned back against the bench. Yeah, we had to get a lot of the city permits to renovate the buildings and the community centers and clinics, but Dima knows a few people, so you know how that goes. Using his powers for good, I see. Pavel laughed and scratched Tulip's ear, her little red collar jingling. But really, that's amazing. See? I knew you could do it. Thanks, Pav. They shared a gentle smile, but only for a moment. Like a light bulb coming in over his head, Pavel perked up and startled the cat in his lap. Oh. When are you coming to Greece? I want to cook for you. You mean you want to kill me? Hey, I've been practicing now, and even if I burn it, there's so many good restaurants here, you'll absolutely love it. I mean, I won't say no to free food. We'll have like 5 guest rooms too. You could stay in any of them. I really miss you, but I guess it's alright if you don't come. I'll see you at my wedding anyway.
Wedding?
Wedding? Wedding. Pavel burst into laughter, the phone camera shaking violently. Vadim's distant voice in the background was barely heard over Pav's cackling. Sasha, could you give us a hand over here? Yeah, one sec. Sasha gave Pavel a thin smile, fighting his reluctance to get back to his feet. Okay, I gotta run. I'll call you later? Okay, say hi to Mishka and Natalie for me. Okay, say goodbye to Tulip. Click. Can always rely on Pav for good vibes. Sasha pocketed his phone and eased up onto his feet. His heels hurt more than ever now that he's been off of them for a bit.
Okay.
So what's next? You could start by. Natalie paused mid-thought, looking past Sasha and toward the chain link fence at the entrance to the park. Or I guess you'll get to it tomorrow. Sasha's face twisted in confusion as he turned to see what she was looking at. Don't let me stop you guys. You look like you're on a roll. The park's looking better already. Mishka smiled as he approached, his hands dug into his jacket pockets. I don't suppose you're here to help, Mishka? Not today. I'm just here to steal Sasha. Is it already that late? Nice. Sorry, Natalia. I'm heading out. Fine, but you're working a double shift next time. Oh shit, you're in trouble. Don't think I've forgotten about your community service, Mishka. I'll be seeing you on Thursday. Community service boy. With a laugh, Mishka ran a hand through his violet hair. Yeah, okay. Kinda looking forward to it, honestly. See you later, Natalia. Don't work too hard. Natalia waved them off while Sasha followed behind Mishka, slipping his jacket back on. It's getting colder out. Hopefully we can get more of the park built before it snows. Yeah, that makes sense, but hey, it's looking good. Looking flat and empty, you mean? How was class? It's cool now, but we're still stuck cutting wigs.
Come on.
I want to move on to color already. I thought I was the impatient one. Hey, I'm not impatient, I just pick stuff up too fast for the rest of my class and then get bored. Sasha spotted a vending machine along their path and stopped, reaching into his pocket for some change. There are only a few weeks left though, right? He fed the coins to the machine and pressed the button for apple juice. He grabbed the can and popped the tab open. Yeah, and then onto the mentorship, and we'll see what happens after that. You make bank, that's what happens. Sasha took a long swig of the apple juice and wiped his mouth from his hand. Mishka laughed and pulled his jacket tighter around himself, shivering. The air became colder as the sun sank beneath the skyline. Haven't eaten all day though, no snacks allowed in class, which is really stupid since we're there for so long. Let's make a paneer makhani when we get home. Being cold is making me crave something spicy. I'm surprised you'd want to cook after working. I don't know, I'm feeling a little crafty. Okay, Martha, do we have everything we need for it? Sasha paused and thought for a moment before shrugging. If not, we'll improvise. Improvise? Don't worry, it'll work out, I'm 70% sure. The mere mention of food made Sasha's stomach growl. Okay, maybe we could pick up a snack on the way. Like a burger. That's not a snack, but I'm listening. We pregame burgers, then eat paneer. When we get home, I'll have room for both. Aw, Sasha crumpled the empty juice can and tossed it into the recycling bin before reaching for Mishka's hand. Lacing their fingers together, Sasha tugged Mishka along. Come on, I'm hungry. Mishka blinked and stared down at the gate at the intertwined hands. Fondness washed over him, softening his gaze. Sasha stopped and looked back over his shoulder. You okay? Mishka glanced back up at Sasha and smiled. Yeah, tightening his grip on Sasha's hand, Mishka stepped forward and hurried past him.
This time.
Seriously?
That laugh, though. Oh my god, don't tell me this is it. No. Fuck. Okay. I was hoping there'd be more, like, telling, like, what Dima's going, what happened to Roman, Ada, all that, but whatever. This was a good series. 10 out of 10 recommend. I hope there's like a part 2, or I'll try to see if there's like if the company has more visual novels, because I actually really enjoyed this one. Thank you guys for listening and watching this. It's been fun. And yeah, see you in the next one.